Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gravely Amusing. You have stumbled upon the podcast where one pop culture historian, writer guy, and usually a few horror loving co hosts give you everything you need to know about a horror sci fi subject, and usually under 90 minutes. But today is a little different. It might go a little bit longer than that, but we'll see. But today is a national holiday for geeks. It is Batman Day. And to celebrate, I have three of my very best pals with me and fellow Batman lovers. I have David Meatball Means. That's a good
Thanks
meatball.
for inviting me. Appreciate it. I am probably the least Batman nerd in the group, but I definitely have some strong opinions.
Which is why you're here. So we have That's a Good Meatball. And then we have Tyler Super Dad Patrick.
Hello. I'm ready.
And the man they call Finch.
We're the three best friends that anyone could have.
The wolf pack. Woo.
Thanks for joining me, guys. So, Batman and Gravely Amusing. I've been asked a few times, how does Batman relate to horror? Well, Batman was created in March of 1939 by Bill Finger and some guy named Bob Kane.
Proud of you.
What's that?
Proud of you.
Thank you. It's Bill Finger really created Batman. But they based him off Zorro, Sherlock Holmes, and The Shadow. So if you remember that movie in the 90s with Alec Baldwin, The Shadow.
The shadow knows.
Alec Baldwin.
I love The Shadow, and I would love to see him back. So The Shadow was that cryptic, mysterious character from the pulps of like 20s and 30s and stuff. And Batman's based off of that. And Zorro, of course, because the mark of Zorro is what they saw at the theater when his parents got killed. So in the DC Trinity, there's Superman, who fills that like sci-fi genre and everything that's good in the world. And there's Wonder Woman, who fills mythology and like fantasy, and she's the warrior Mary Poppins. She's perfect in every way. But she's that nice middle ground between Batman and Superman because she can be a warrior, but then she's also like really good. Batman fits that dark genre, that noir, the detective stories, and horror. I mean, the man uses fear as a weapon. He hunts down serial killers. He fights supernatural threats. He's like a Winchester before the Winchesters existed. The Winchesters exist because of Batman. And he's even being a part of the supernatural team, Justice League Dark, which I'll show you right here. So in Justice League Dark right here, which I hope you can see here. So in Justice League Dark, as you can see, he led that team.
Yep, because they couldn't do a movie without Batman.
They couldn't do a movie without Batman. Now, traditionally, Justice League Dark is led by John Constantine. He's pretty much the main guy, which is this guy right over here. And then this is Deadman, and then Zatanna, Etrigan, Swamp Thing. But in this one, Batman led the team. And oftentimes in comics, when it comes to a supernatural situation, even in the saga of Swamp Thing written by Alan Moore in the 80s, Swamp Thing worked with Batman to combat supernatural situations. So, yeah. So Batman's a horror guy. It's just how it is. Batman has definitely took on like a new horror take since 2011 when Scott Snyder took on the Batman with longtime Spawn artist Greg Capullo. And in the Batman film, which is based on Scott Snyder's work and Greg's work. So, I mean, this team made the Joker even more terrifying than pretty much ever before. And I'll show you a picture here if you haven't seen it yet, guys. So this right here, clearly spooky stuff. In this story, The Death of the Family, written by Scott and drawn by Greg, the Joker rips his face off. Well, he gets his face surgically removed by a character called the Dollmaker, which was featured in Gotham and the Gotham show. And as you can see, he's kind of chilling in the background there. Freaky as heck. And this is him with his face kind of stretched back on with it. So, so that's kind of the horror aspect going on there with Batman. Batman's scary, and so are his villains that do all kinds of horrible things. And the kind of villains that keep doing these horrible things are the kind of villains that need stopped. So our topic today for Batman Day: should Batman kill? So I provided some bat data, and I want to discuss it with you guys and see what your opinion is right now, and see what it is if it changes at the end of the podcast. So
it's definitely an interesting topic because, like, when you brought it up, personal fan of Gravely Amusing, and so you've done Universal Monsters. You guys had a big epic Godzilla, King Kong episodes. You even got into like Roswell, all those things with all the Roswell and the aliens. So kind of the sci-fi and the things that bring like fear. And like at the beginning when you said that Batman uses fear, I think that's something that kind of ties into that. And as not being a criminal element, we don't have anything to fear from Batman because we're on this side of the good line. And I just got into thinking, like, looking at the different Batman characters, there really are like two sides. Like there's the people that he fights, even if they're insane, even if they're in a costume, even if they are dressed up in some way, like they're still humans, they're still people. But then there is that whole other side of like creatures or somebody who took some sort of thing that transformed them into something else. That goes beyond just redeemable human qualities. And so it's a really interesting topic to kind of look at, the part of Batman that is fighting something more than just a criminal mastermind. But it's actually somebody who's a creature. So it's a very interesting topic. I think it's a really cool thing to dive into and kind of look at. It'd be cool for me because I'm not as much of a history buff of the Batman series to know, like, did different directors, the different writers have input as that led it one side or the other? How much did that play into the whole going from being a crime fighter to like, a monster hunter? How does that come all into play? But I think, it's really going to depend on who he's fighting and what, I don't know if you want to call it universe or what kind of series or what direction that the storyline's going. So it'd be cool to hear your guys' thoughts.
So right off the bat, you were my first guy I wanted to ask if you think Batman should kill. So it kind of seems like you feel it depends on the story or what he's facing.
Yeah, because it's really like, is he like a crime fighter? Like is his purpose to stop crime? I mean, really, the beginnings of his parents being murdered, he wanted to get revenge on them. Like he wanted to have justice, right? Whenever something bad happens, we all feel like there's this, and I think that's why these stories are so good, because we always feel that there's imbalance, right? And so what is the proper thing that needs to be done to knock it back into balance? And so when you look at somebody like Commissioner Gordon, he just wants to arrest them. Like going to jail is the thing that kind of balances. It'll be worse for them to be, a prisoner in jail for, the rest of their lives than them to die, and then they won't have any consequences for their actions. So, if Batman's leaning towards the crime fighter seeking justice. I think that has a big difference between, a creature that is just evil, that is out to demolish and devour anything and anyone in their way. So it'll be interesting. So I think it really, for me, really determines on who's he facing. If he's, I'm trying to think of somebody, there's the people that walk the line, right? The Joker is he's a guy, but he's crazy. You know what I mean? But then you have Clayface, who really, what is Clayface? And is there a way to, yeah, I'm still up in the air at what is the proper answer, depending on who.
Well, the mission today is to put it in your head what you really think.
That sounds good.
So Finch, what do you think? Before we go through the data, do you think he should kill?
That's a tough one, man. I think his code is what makes him Batman. His code of not, but obviously we've seen any examples where that's been broken. And sometimes it's a necessity. So I think it goes along the lines of he should only kill when there's no other way. Simple as that for me.
So we're no one has a definite, they're just, I don't know. Tyler, what do you think, man?
I'm gonna piggyback off both of them because, and I'm not gonna say too much because I really think the conversation that we're gonna have in the debate is really what's gonna get you. I even had this conversation with Jania when I was doing dishes because we've had similar talks about this.
I have the best conversation when I do dishes.
But just going on it because she has her thoughts and her opinions to bring up. But I think it depends on also what Batman wants to be. In the movie The Batman, at the end, Batman's supposed to be representing hope, which usually isn't the Batman thing, right? So is he the vigilante justice seeker? Is he just a vigilante? Is he the superhero? Those all have these answers of what kind of codes in which they follow. And just like Dave said, we're going to talk about it in a better, but to take it out of Batman's context, nobody would get pissed when Superman killed Doomsday because it's a rage machine that's just killing everyone, and that's what you expect to happen. Okay, it was a fight to the death.
Nobody would bat an eye.
Exactly. Nope. So the question about
nobody would lose their minds.
Should Batman kill comes down to, are we going to ground this into a discussion? Because Batman killing a parademon in Battlefront is a much different concept than Batman killing thugs on the street. And that's where I think the conversation is going to come from. And if you equate it to police officers and anyone else that uses any kind of law enforcement, soldiers, anything like that, it's kind of built into their job, but they don't kill everyone. So it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna come from where we take this conversation, really where and how I feel.
This is gonna be a good one. This is a good one right here.
And I think adding what Tyler said, the idea of justice, right? What is just, right? You hear about somebody who shoots a cop, and then all the cops, they're well, they're probably not going to arrest that person. That person's probably going to be shot by the 20 cops that are hunting them down because you don't kill a cop, right? People feel like it's justified, or somebody does a horrendous crime. It's well, this is the payback from that, right? And I guess that's the idea of justice mixed with vengeance. Where does that balance fall in, right? Because you have what balances the scale, right? What makes, then what's too far? Joker is somebody who continually has been a problem for Batman, and if he just kills him, the problem's solved, right? All the future issues and all the future problems, all those things are resolved. And has Joker done enough to, for that to be the proper
get there.
response. Okay.
I mean,
we're
it comes down to personal constitution too, of where his line draws of, and I'll also say this. I think about the end of The Dark Knight, the film. Okay, what does he say?
Too?
Is I killed those people. Okay, he didn't do it, but he's letting Batman be what Batman has to be, and he's taking the blame. So even though Bruce didn't do the action, because that's what Batman can be. He can endure. And that's something we're going to think about. I mean, to kind of flip and take it to a different thing is think about a film like The Boondock Saints, right? Where their whole point is we can kill everybody. We can kill the bad people that are getting away with stuff. And at the end of that film, you have them like people being interviewed by the news media about, what the Saints are doing. And people are like, yeah, I love the Saints. They're cleaning it up. Then people are like, no, they're taking the law in their own hands. So that's going to come back into our conversation of where he rides that line. And there's more, and I know there's more coming of comic examples that we'll dissect. So I think we should just kind of get into the stuff to dissect it more.
It's okay. I love you guys.
I just want to say my motto for Batman. Sorry, my motto for Batman actually comes from Batman Begins, where I think it's the perfect line, and for me, it's what summarizes Batman, and it's when he's fighting Ra's al Ghul at the end, and he says, "I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you," and that's my thing for Batman. Like I think
it's a great line.
That sums it up perfectly.
But that scene is almost comical because he's like, "I just put you in the most unsaving situation ever."
We'll get there. We'll get there. My senior project in high school was, is vigilantism justifiable? And I love that project. That was a great project. But what stemmed this topic was an interview a few months ago that controversial director Zack Snyder did with Joe Rogan. And these clips are from Joe Rogan's podcast. They're right from there. So I'm going to play some parts of the interview, and we will discuss them. So, and I'm going to play them like bit by bit. Okay. So here we go.
I tend to get in trouble because of I do take a deconstructivist point of view because of Dark Knight Returns, because of Watchmen.
You guys are able to hear it?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Okay, here we go. He gets into trouble because of Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns.
If you've read those two comics, it's hard to go back, you want to, and it's because I care that I want to take them apart. Like I want Batman, like people are always like, well, Batman can't kill, right? So Batman can't kill is canon. And I'm like,
is Batman can't kill, is that actually canon?
It just depends on, I mean, look at the comic book world. We all have tons of Elseworlds and alternate takes and all this. But I think because Nolan stressed that so much in his films and they were so huge that everybody just walked away with that's Batman's rule, the no kill rule. And people have just kind of been taking it since then.
Okay.
Do they forget that Batman once carried a gun?
I mean, yeah, people forget that.
If you're not going to try to kill people, why are you walking around with a gun? You know what I'm saying? But I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't his dad a doctor?
Yes.
Yep.
Right. And doctors, their whole perspective is do no harm, save everybody. Try do your best to save lives. And I just wonder, like, seeing that this was such a transformation at such a young age, how much did that play into his worldview? Like he's going to get vengeance, like he's going to make things right for people. But I just wonder how far that bought into that whole idea of don't kill people. But the thing that always it's so frustrating, like the whole idea of don't kill people. I'll destroy your face and I'll break every limb that you have and I'll leave you have to die on the ground, but I'm not going to kill you. Like he's going he
you'll be all right.
up.
You'll be
You know
all
what I
right.
mean?
I think one thing we need to take into if we're going to have a discussion is, and this is proven, I think, both in film and in comics, is Bruce Wayne is not a psychologically sound person. Okay.
That's next year.
Okay. I'm saying like he is unbalanced. He has a persona he puts on that shows himself as a sane, balanced person. And I mean, a lot of that evidence is when you compare Bruce and Dick, because Nightwing represents the healthy healing and overcoming of the same tragedy. Why Bruce lives and continually mourns in that tragedy. He can never get out of that moment and out of that tragedy. He is psychologically unbalanced. And that is something you
Like
have to
me.
take in. You have to take into consideration when you're evaluating this, because are you evaluating a sane person or are you evaluating a person that operates from a different mental state and capacity? So, as we break things down here, what a sane person might do compared to what someone who has a different aspect on life is willing to do.
What's that line from Dark Knight when Christian Bale is Bruce Wayne? He's like, clearly someone who dresses up like a bat clearly has issues.
Love that line. But let's get back to this interview here. So I want you to think about that. Like, is him not killing actually canon? So think about that. Here we go.
I'm like, okay, well, the first thing I want to do when you say that is I want to see what happens. And they go like, well, don't put him in a situation where he has to kill someone. I'm like, well, that's just like you're protecting your God in a weird way, right? You're making your God irrelevant if he can't be in that situation. He has to now deal with that.
Yeah.
If he does do that, what does that mean? What does it tell you? But does he stand up to it? Can he survive that? Right? As a God, as your God, can Batman survive that?
Does choosing not to kill, does it make Batman less relevant?
I don't think there's a relevancy to it. I think it is a question on, is it murder or is it like collateral damage? That's a different, like, going in with the intent to kill and then, fighting and killing somebody is different than during the battle, the person dies. Like he's in the situation he's describing is putting him in a situation where that could happen. Well, in any fight, technically that can happen. I mean, it's been evident in boxing arenas and, stuff where it's supposed to be fighting in a safe space, for lack of a better term. There's been death. So my thing is, there's a difference between being a murderer and then being put in a situation where death occurs.
That's a good point.
My question is if the criminals know that Batman doesn't kill, does that make him any less effective towards them because
that's
they know
the question.
He won't
That's the
them?
proper wording of what I'm trying to ask. Thank you, Tyler. Yes. Does it make him irrelevant, the fact that he just doesn't kill? Like, oh, you're not going to kill me, so why should I be afraid?
I mean, that's been evident in certain series and comics where the villains, he's interrogating me and they're like, you're not going to kill me, but the Joker, he'll kill me, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, that would make it somewhat like, oh, he's not as threatening as like someone like the Joker. But I mean, his idea is not to be threatening, is to get information and solve a crime or murder or whatever. So I don't know.
And don't you think that's one of the things that makes Batman so interesting is like, we all know man has his breaking point, right? We all have this predetermined line that we've created on how far we're willing to go to do something, right? But then we run through those scenarios. Like I have two daughters, And I'm like, if somebody did something to my daughters,
Yes.
like, how am I going to be willing to keep that? And I think that's the thing that we love about Batman is, like, as you read the different comics or you watch the animated series, like, what's going to be that thing, right? Who was it? Was it when Jason Todd was killed by the Joker, that like Batman hunts him down for the purpose of killing Joker until I think it's like Commissioner Gordon shows up and like stops him, and like you think like this is it, like this is the one that he's going to like cross that line, and like I think we all anticipate that, like this is it. That he cannot not prevent himself from crossing that line. He can't hold that code because this is too emotionally invested in that. And then, you know, unfortunately for like an episode like that where Gordon steps in, it's like, well, maybe he, like, we don't know if he would have actually crossed the line or not. And I think it's that uncertainty that makes it so good. Like, because you don't, we're kind of waiting for that moment. Like, what's going to be that thing that's going to have him cross that line? Because then once he does, then all bets are off. Like, once he crosses that line, then shoot, he may be taking everybody out at that point. And I think as a consumer of the content, like I love that tension that's built with that.
We might touch on that today. So that's actually from the story Hush, where he's kind of like just about to kill the Joker. But also in the story Under the Red Hood, that is Jason's main argument. That, you know, I died, he killed me, and you didn't kill him. Like, why couldn't you kill him? He's right here. He's right here, Bruce. Like, let me kill him. And that's why Under the Red Hood is, and what the animated movie does it so well. And that's why it's probably the second best Batman movie there is, under Mask of the Phantasm, in my opinion, because Jason brings it up. Like, how could you let him live? So, let's go into the next section of this interview, though.
I never thought that was canon, that Batman can't kill. But
well, for a lot of people, it is.
That seems ridiculous given the circumstances in which he operates.
Well,
and all the weapons.
Don't read the comments right now. Don't read the comments.
Yeah,
this
seems ridiculous.
It's, well, I mean, and you know, there's this huge so in Dark Knight Returns, there's a scene where, and I copied it kind of in Batman versus Superman, where he grabs the M60, he busts through the wall, and he grabs the M60, and he's like, the guy's like, in the comic book, he's like got this kid, the mutant has this kid with a gun to his head, and he's like, I'll kill him, I swear I'll do it. And Batman says, I believe you. And he shoots him straight in the head, because it's like a no-win scenario. It's like the Kobayashi Maru of, you know, the Kobayashi Maru is that in Star Trek, it's that test they put Kirk through where there's a no-win, right? Because they want to see how you'll react, right? So they say, okay, we're gonna make a scenario, a test scenario where you don't win, where there's no way to win. And in that situation, we find out what you would do in a no-win situation, because if you're going to be the commander of this spaceship, you're going to be in situations where, you know, it's life or death. And especially when there's no tricking it, right? There's no tricking death in this case. And the famous thing with Captain Kirk is he went and hacked the machine and made it so there was a solution.
Yeah.
And so that was his response to the no-win situation, was create a scenario where he wins, which is cool, which is a cool character, you know, that's a cool character move. But like, that's kind of how I felt. That's what they would say, don't do that to Batman. Don't put him in a no-win situation, because we don't want to see him lose. Like, we can't see him lose. He has to maintain this godlike status. And that's what the cool thing about Frank Miller. Frank Miller said, fuck it. I want to see who this guy, like if a guy, so you're saying to me that I've got a gun to this kid's head, you're Batman. There's no move. There's no trick. There's no throwing the batarang. There's no a dust ball to distract me. Like, I've just got to pull the trigger and I kill this kid. So you're saying in that scenario, what's Batman supposed to do? Right?
Right.
Yeah. He's going to, lay down his gun. What's he going to do? Like it's the guy says to him, "I'll do it. I swear it."
I believe you is perfect.
Yeah, I believe you. And
I
then
believe you.
So, should there ever be a no-win situation for Batman?
I mean,
Should there always be a way out that he could win, or should we have no-win situations?
I mean, I think that's also goes down to your writer. Like, are you doing the fantastical Batman where he's like with the Justice League and he's fighting like parademons or something like that? Are you doing something where he's the vigilante on the streets? Because that happens. Like, if you're trying to ground Batman into a reality situation, being in situations where, even with like, I hate the term Bat God and all the, Batman with prep
Grant
time.
Morrison Bat God. Yes.
Yeah, like he can do everything. Well, that's great and all. But you're taking away like human flaws and actions that he then has to pay the consequences for. In the situation described here about the gun to the head, like if that wasn't Batman, if that was a cop, who's up there and the cop shoots the guy, you're not going to blink twice. You're like, that's what a cop would do. That's their sworn duty, is to serve and protect. And the cop put down, the person. The biggest quandrum is we as the audience know Batman and his code. We can sit and see his actions, who he is. The community of the story don't know the code in which he lives by and who he is as a person. So his actions of killing can scare them because he's not responsible to anybody, any organization or government body. If a cop puts somebody down, a cop then has to make reports. There is an investigation. They go through psychological evals because of what occurred. And if Batman does the same, but they don't know what he deals with. It's just that thing is, can he kill that personal constitution? But the people of Gotham, we'll say that term, they don't know that personal constitution that he holds himself to. They don't know the rules that he follows. They just see what happens.
Yeah. Finch, what do you think, man?
Well, I mean, similar. I'm piggybacking off of Tyler. I mean, with the police, when they murder somebody, or kill somebody, yeah, there's obviously investigations. They have to do reports and stuff. But then what is the media or people viewing it always say? They say like, oh, they should be trained better or something like that. And isn't Batman supposed to be like the ultimate weapon, and he's been trained for almost every scenario and can
I'm so glad you said that.
Basically any scenario. So if it comes to a situation where Batman sees no other choice, then I can see, yes, him taking that scenario and doing what he has to do to get out of that situation, saving a life if that's the case, or saving his own life. So
Yeah, Dave, do you think there should be no-win situations for Batman?
Well, I think when you look across like a lot of different horror films and different monsters, especially the monsters that are like partial human, like the werewolf or the wolfman. Sorry, the wolfman is man part of the day, wolfman during the werewolf during the other. Jekyll and Hyde. There's lots of moments in which to defeat one is to defeat something else. Like there is that fallout, that collateral damage. And I know like the hope is to save everybody, right? I think that's a lot of times the idea is, can everybody be saved? Can every person have a redemption story? Is there a cure? Is there an antidote? Is there rehabilitation through prison? Right. And so when we're presented with these different scenarios, it's really trying to figure out like what is the right response, right? So like even in war, when people talk about collateral damage, they don't view those kind of things as a no win or zero win kind of situation. This is the fallout, this is the outcome to achieve our victory, right? And I think, when Batman's kind of put in these scenarios, I think that's what we as the people that are watching is like, does the ending, the outcome justify the means, right? Does the ending justify the means? We think about that a lot. And even when we're looking at, modern life things outside of fiction, we kind of go through that, don't we? That is this something that is justifiable? And that's where we get back to that word justice, right? If somebody kills the Wolfman with a silver bullet, if that is the proper way to kill a Wolfman. I did not watch that episode, Brian. I need to go back and confirm with that. But you're killing a guy,
best episodes,
right? You're killing a guy who has no control over his behavior, right? If you kill Mr. Hyde, you're getting rid of who Dr. Jekyll is, right? Like you have one with the other. I mean, I think even when you look at like the Incredible Hulk, who is a superhero, but not to everybody, right? Like he destroys things, he cannot be controlled, right? And so we look at that human element. No, don't kill him. He's really only just a guy. He's just Bruce Banner. You don't want to kill him, right? And so there's like this weighing of is the results. And I think in the Batman stories, I think that's what everybody's doing, is weighing what happens. Like, was it good? Now, is there a scenario in which both things equally, isn't that's kind of what Joker did to Batman in The Dark Knight, where you had Harvey Dent in one place and what's her face in the other place. Somebody's going to die, right?
Rachel.
Like how do you decide which one you let die? I mean, that was a no-win scenario that he was put in.
Sure was.
So, and then we all feel like we feel bad for one over the other, but I think it's that, is it justified? I think it just really feels like it goes back to, is the actions justified? And I think that's what a lot of people, where they either agree or disagree, come down to.
Okay, back to the interview here.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, that's where like Frank Deakins takes Batman and just tears him in half.
Yeah.
And you've got to now come out the other side of that. And Batman is still the hero. Batman still does the right thing. He maintains his code, he doesn't change, but like our perception of him changes. And I think that's like I have run afoul of, but a lot of the fandom who have gotten to the same place I have with the characters, where they need to test them to like, and I feel like the characters, it's been my experience that the characters have not let us down. Like these myths have not let us down. You put them to the ragged edge into that scenario and they come out the other side and you're like, fuck yeah, there's a reason why Superman.
Well, we're not going to get into the Superman here, but there's basically he goes on to say there's a reason Superman can take it. But that's a whole nother conversation, probably for Krypton Report. So things I want you guys to think about here. Does Batman killing, does it still make him a hero? When you think about characters like the Punisher, and you think about, you think, you think about the Punisher. Punisher is a great example. Over on the Marvel side, Daredevil is so against killing. He's just like that Batman, and he does whatever he can to try to save Frank Castle's soul and stop Frank from going on these killing things here. So if Batman kills, is he still a hero? Zach says he still is a hero. Your perception just kind of like changed a little bit, but I think that's debatable. And my question and Zach said about testing heroes, and testing in the situations. So I ask you guys to think in your head, is Batman not killing the real test. Him not crossing that line, is that the real test of the hero? That he's not going to do it, or is the test, just being in these situations? What is it going to do? Just something to think about. So we know that Zack Snyder, as he directed Batman films and as he went, his interpretation, we know that Snyder had his Batman kill, because Snyder is extremely influenced by Frank Miller. I mean,
Yes.
extremely.
And I mean, I think that's also something to take into consideration, is where you're really pulling your comic references for your character. And when you're going to Frank Miller, and that's your like definitive version that, grabbed you, that hooked you, and you see the character, yeah, that's where you're going to go.
Yeah. And that's definitely I mean, you see Batman vs Superman, that's the way he took it. So my question for you guys,
I've never been a fan of The Dark Knight Returns. I'm throwing that out there. Like I do not hold that story as high as a lot. I can respect what it did, but like I don't hold it up there as some great Batman story.
I have created a whole list of different Batman day topics for years to come, and one of them probably is, did Frank Miller really save Batman, or did he hurt him?
I think it's one of those things of needing dramatic examples to snap people out of apathy. To quote Batman Begins that Fincher's watching, it's just like it's the grunge music. It's the grunge music that helped stop hair metal. Like eventually something has to come along that is in key with the character, but has to snap it out of where we had, left the character for so long. And that book became such a thing for pop culture period to latch onto at that time, that it kind of broke away from, the status quo in the comics at the times of the 70s and of the 80s, and broke out of that mindset, and was the first element to start to really, in other media, help to move away from Batman 66.
You wouldn't have Batman 89 if it wasn't for The Dark Knight.
Yeah, The Dark Knight and the Killing Joke, yeah.
Yep, you wouldn't have it. So my question to you, going around the circle, just give me a quick answer. How many kills do you think Zack Snyder's Batman had? The Affleck, the Batfleck.
Are we talking in all movies or just BBS?
In all movies. Dave.
So you're saying any of the movies with Ben Affleck as Batman?
That Ben Affleck as Batman is.
I've watched 0 of those movies because I hate Ben Affleck.
That's incorrect.
And I have not watched.
No.
Okay.
No. We had an all-nighter. And we watched them. It was one of the greatest weekends of my life.
Which one was it where Ben Affleck chased the guy for 20 minutes and then still couldn't catch him? Was that The Flash, right?
No, that was The Flash.
Yeah, that was the best one because he really sucked and he looked like a moron in that movie. And then the real Batman showed up later. So that was it. He didn't kill anybody in that one because he couldn't catch him.
But Batman versus Superman, which we did watch it together. We watched I
must have blacked that out because I don't remember. Did we watch that?
Obviously you did. Yep, you sure did.
It was a traumatic episode of forcing myself.
Give me a number, Dave.
I'm going to say 3.
You're wrong. Finch.
I'm not surprised.
How many kills do you think he did?
I'm gonna rack up about 89.
89. That is very high. But probably believable if Zach would have kept filming with him. Tyler, what do you think?
Well, the trick is your counters, because one, do you count the nightmare scene? Because technically that's not really happening.
I don't think you can.
Okay, because I don't count the nightmare scene because it didn't really happen. 2, like I had a number from my research that is the total, but I don't know if they included parademons that he battles. So I'm gonna go with probably about 40 in BVS.
40 is pretty solid. Well, let's try to see.
But because like I said, there's little factors you got to bring in there with like what you count and what you don't count.
So this is where we see Batman coming to Batmobile. That guy shooting, yeah. Boom, done. That guy's probably dead.
No,
then we have
he's
this
going to
truck
walk
here.
it off. He's just going to walk it off.
That would be the scenes that I would film as a director and just insert is the scenes later of all the characters just walking it off or like at the hospital, like alive, like
An entire ER of people like strung up.
but like, yeah,
What
see, they
about-
made it.
Yeah, they're
Any-
fine. He never killed.
That trailer.
And, wait.
Show me a dead body, right? If there is no body, there is no crime.
And they're probably dead.
No, he's fine. Airbags, side airbags, and not model.
Yep.
They survived that one.
I mean,
And
like I said, I think there's the concept of the attention, like the intention to kill, and then it happens while
Yeah, I don't have to save you.
but this is like straight up, yeah, you just killed those guys. You don't give a crap.
I think he definitely
Yeah, that
wants
was
to kill
3,
these
right?
guys.
Is that 3? Are you?
Yeah,
gonna
he-
stop it here? Is that
Yeah, they
the
just
limit?
blew up and he drove right through them.
No, they're fine. They're fine. They had those flame retardant suits on.
You know, but like
They're
in
gonna
the thing is, in the context of this story, is you're supposed to have that unhinged Batman that's basically at the end of his rope. So like his brutality is part of the story of him just not caring anymore after the death of Robin. And I think that goes into the conversation we were touching on about with Jason Todd's murder is what would happen to Batman, you know, with having something taken to that extreme. And I hate that element was teased in this series, but we never got.
Oh, he's
there.
dead. That guy dead.
You know, they touch
I
on
don't
it.
know. I didn't see any damage. He jumped out of the truck before it exploded. You didn't see him roll away?
I mean, to defend Zack Snyder, you know, it's an impossible situation when someone's launching a rocket launcher at you. You know,
That guy dead.
No, I mean KGB comes back later. So I mean,
No, but there was a guy standing on the ledge of the vehicle,
See, there he
and the
is.
Batmobile whacked
See,
right
yeah, he's
into him.
not dead.
There's the two guys right there.
Oh, my apologies.
Mhm.
Brian, are you counting all these murders?
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Mr. Sunday Morning video?
No,
No.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 live action Batmans that haven't killed.
We'll debate it. We're debating that right now.
I'm not counting the serials. Okay. I would. You have to pay me to go back and watch those and count the stuff. Okay. I'm not counting the serials.
Then Superman shows up.
With his awesome blowing cape.
So now is Superman an accomplice because he didn't do nothing to stop him?
He did absolutely nothing.
You know
Thanks
what I
for bringing
mean?
that
Like
up.
He
Like,
just got there at that
that-
moment right there.
that kind of happens. Like, you know, if you're
Nah, he would be
sitting
able to
there
hear
and
it.
you don't stop the person,
He was
like,
on the other side of the world doing stuff. You know, he just heard it. Like he just
Yeah,
got
sure.
there.
Whatever.
he heard these random explosions.
He
He's
didn't
like
care.
he had to dial it in. Like
He's like, Bruce.
He didn't care. No, he didn't care. So yeah, a lot of people died there,
threatened him.
and I wonder.
I mean, did he kill him or was it the Batmobile that killed him? I mean, you can't, you can't blame the.
He's operating Batmobile. That's like somebody in a car crash. But
Yeah,
then,
it's just
you get to the
vehicular
warehouse scene
manslaughter.
and everybody in there.
It was just vehicular manslaughter. He wasn't really trying for them to die. It was an accident. So he really, he can't really be held for their murders, for their deaths.
Well, what about here?
This scene is so great, though. This is so great.
So great.
I mean, this is the ultimate Batman action scene.
No, those are taser bullets. They're fine.
This is if we would have got that Batman solo film, man.
I know.
Look at that beauty. Okay, yep, that guy, he might be hurt.
Oh no, he's hurt. Like.
So, Bryan, you're telling me we watched this movie?
Yeah, we sure did, buddy.
We should.
Dave,
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure I just blacked this all out.
See right there. This is that example of unintentional. Like the guy pulled his own grenade.
Yeah, he can't be held liable for that.
And Batman threw another dude. Like he doesn't know everything. Okay, that's the other thing. It's like during the heat of battle, like in any kind of fight, you're not gonna be able to calculate. Oh, that guy pulled the pin from a grenade. Like you're just fighting to stop. Now that dude is dead.
He's just sleeping. He's sleeping. That's all. He'll be up. He'll walk it off. Rub some dirt on it. Walk it off. You'll be fine.
But yeah, we did a DC movie marathon. Because you're like, Ben Affleck, I will never watch him as Batman. And I was like, I think you need to.
I think it was a date from another universe. I'm pretty sure he showed up. There's a portal in Columbus, Ohio. I think it's at that German sausage place.
Well,
cool. I would stumble in that portal 1,000 times.
All right, Bryan, what are we up to now? How many murders? This 25, 30?
So the number count for Batman murders, that guy did. The number count for Batman murders for Affleck is roughly about 25.
See, yeah.
And in this whole run, roughly. Now,
I was a little bit off.
No,
Me too.
It could be more, but now I've heard people say that there are multiple Batman in live action, just like Tyler did, that don't kill, that have not killed. And one of them is Pattinson.
Yep. That's the one that surprises me.
Pattinson didn't kill. I say bull crap on that one. I say complete and utter bull crap. Because
the Pattinson didn't kill?
I say Pattinson killed.
Got to go back and watch it.
Well, here you go. Right here. He's chasing the penguin. By the way, he could have just rammed into the penguin right from the get-go with the Batmobile and prevent this whole chase. But he decided to endanger lives. Mm-hmm. And if you watch how it should have ended, they'll explain that to you. And here we go. Boom, right here, we see Batman hit that truck with the Batmobile. And that truck's tumbled over. And, yep. Batman's kind of like not knowing what's going on. There's a tanker over here. Did you see the tanker? Yep. Oh, let me hit the gas here.
I remember this part. This ramp. This is when Penguin thinks that he got away.
That guy did. Dead.
I mean, like those you could say, but at the same time, you could say they survived.
Actually, if you pause it, if you go back and pause it, the cab of the truck is not engulfed in flames.
That's what I'm saying. The cab's not there, and I've seen, there's enough car wrecks to say like, compared to where the Batmobile in the last one just literally ran through the car and crushed it,
that guy did.
And the fact that Penguin does walk away from this, like, it shows you that cars in Gotham are resilient.
They
that
made in America.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it is feasible to say that he didn't kill nobody there. And plus, it also goes into your was it an accident as collateral during the chase? Like, oh no, that person died, or was it a blatant I did this? So,
well, I mean,
Pattinson Jackson people up hardcore. You know what? I choose not to because I feel like they could survive that, and there's enough in there to say, no, they walked away.
Okay, let me throw this at you. What about the fact that when they're at the Riddler crime scene for the murder, Batman doesn't ask anybody what the heck that tool is that was a murder weapon. And he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective in the world, and he doesn't know what it is. and
But-
nor does he bother to ask anybody.
Well, he's
We
not going to
could- we
ask
could have
anybody.
stopped the whole movie and just one thing. If he was just like, "Hey, anybody know what this is?" And then
Well,
he's
I mean-
like, "Oh yeah, that's a carpet tucker." Oh,
My thing is, one, he doesn't talk or ask questions to anybody. That's his thing, is the mystery. If he asks questions, they
social
lose.
skills.
He asks questions,
That's
it
the real crime.
loses. It loses that mystery, and it makes him seem less intelligent. Okay.
Mm.
But if
You
you,
could have googled.
but one of the, I saw someone say
He's not a
this was
trades.
was the idea that he is a rich man, and like he doesn't all like being part of like the higher elites wouldn't always know the tools of the common working man. And this is only year 2 Batman also, so he's still new at this.
What do you think, Finch? Finch, my boy.
Well, like I said, he's not a trades. He's not a tradesman, so he wouldn't know what that tool was. Off that.
Rich white boys, I tell you, rich white boys.
Said like he doesn't know all that. He doesn't know that stuff. Now, if Batman was making like some of those videos I've been sending you, oh, he would have known.
Yeah. Finch lives in California, and I live in Ohio. 3-hour time difference, and like 3 a.m, I get like 17 videos. 5 a.m, get like 20 videos, and that's how we communicate with each other. It's just random memes all day. but I'd have it no other way. But what about the fact that he doesn't defuse the bomb on the dude's neck? He decides to answer the call and talk to the Riddler. He could have just defused that bomb and saved the life, killed him.
That's implying that he knows how to defuse the bomb. We don't have
this Batman don't know nothing.
I'll say in the context of that story, we don't know the extent of all of his skills.
And you said that he has the best Batcave.
Yeah, he does.
Broke my heart. Broke my heart.
And you know what, when you think, I mean, we were talking about.
That's the thing. If these experiences didn't happen.
Yeah. When people look at a Batman who doesn't kill, they tend to go to Bale, to Christian Bale. When they look at a Batman that doesn't kill. But yeah, that's BS. Because Bale set that fire at the temple when he refused to kill that dude. He still killed guys. He killed more people. He could have just cut that dude's head off and been done with it. But no, he decides to start a fire and kills all those people in the League of Shadows. And he, of course, goes to Ra's al Ghul and says, "I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to have to save you." And then the train crashes. That's pretty much murder in the second degree, because he was committing the crime of vigilantism, and he just, he also killed somebody in the midst of committing that crime. He kills people. Oh, and he speared Harvey Dent off the ledge, killed him. Boom. And he killed, and also when he's in the bat in The Dark Knight Rises, he shoots Talia's driver with the bat and it kills him. And that's what crashes, and then Talia dies. So he killed like 12 people. I mean, he went American Psycho on them, or Gotham Psycho, whatever. So what Batman do you think actually, other than the serials, actually did not kill anybody?
Clooney.
Tyler says Clooney.
Adam West.
Dave says Adam West. Finch.
I would have said Adam West also.
Okay. So we have two Adam Wests. We have one Clooney. Well, I think
Survey says
dead.
Why'd you say?
Boom.
Hold on. Play that again. What'd he do? I missed it.
Hold on.
It looked like he kicked him.
Yeah, because in the context is if those villains are hit, it automatically kills them because they're rehydrated. And when they fight them, they take them all
He
out. They
completely missed his face. He missed his face.
Well, this is like wrestling, in the 80s, killed him. Totally killed him. But yeah, I mean, he killed him, dude.
I mean, but were they really human to begin with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
Penguin kind of pre-killed them and then brought them
They
back
were
to
already
life.
dead. They were already dead. There's no soul. They're fine. It's not really murder.
Mhm.
He
Things with
killed
no
him,
soul.
man.
Hey, maybe we're on to something. Things with no souls can be killed.
That goes down to the debate between killing a monster and killing a man, like you talked about earlier.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So is it really? I mean, those were
Yeah, I mean,
creatures,
that
not
would
really
that would include
people.
parademons.
Mm-hmm.
You can't count parademons, but these were human beings that were dehydrated, rehydrated, and
You can't rehydrate humans and keep them real. Those aren't real people.
Sure, you can't.
I think we fixed the debate. It's all solved. If they got a soul, you can kill them. If they don't got a soul, then no. Good night, everybody. Appreciate coming out.
I think you mean the other way around. If they have a soul, don't kill them.
Well, that's what I mean. If they don't have a soul, you can kill them. Like monsters and
Okay, that's the debate. That's
freeze dried people that are
put these people in a DQ blizzard. Batman turned it upside down.
I never saw no people at my third grade science fair like, I'm going to dehydrate these people, then I'm going to rehydrate them, and look, they come back to life. It'll be pretty messy.
They didn't have the technology. Now, Michael Keaton's Batman is probably the most popular killing Batman.
Yep. And Dave called him the best Batman. Dave.
I love him. Because he handled the business, right? I mean, a little bit ago you asked about like what's a hero, and I'm like, he saves the day.
Oh, are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure I watched that movie last night, and he just watched that little kid in the alley, his family get attacked, almost the same crime that killed his family. Just stood up there and then walked away.
He was, you got to understand triggers, right? He was triggered in that moment, and he couldn't do anything.
I mean, also like he's very passive in that movie too. He lets things happen before really acting. Then he just goes and murders people.
You mean like Superman and BVS?
You got to think before you act.
I will talk about that later. It's a different podcast.
Working that all out.
Like Superman and BVS.
So I said, well,
I'm just going to show up.
That's a different podcast. Let's do that.
Some people die. I'm Superman. I can hear this, from up in the sky. But I was too busy banging Lois Lane in a bathtub. But anywho.
But why is it that when Keaton kills, it's so cool though?
Because he does it with such style.
I mean, I love when the penguin dies, and doesn't like all the little penguins come out and like drag his body off. Like
exactly.
That's a great ending.
But Keaton has probably about 15 confirmed kills.
I have on my count, Keaton's was 34.
34.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll show a movie in a second. And Keaton actually killed the Joker. So, this is from Mr. Sunday Movies.
Did he though? Did he? Because wasn't it? He the gargoyle happened to fall. That ain't Keaton's fault.
He he could have let him go on the ladder. He could have let him go.
I mean, you could argue, but
he killed. All right. So let's watch this kill count. Of course, that's in the best Batcave. Well, I voted that the second best Batcave. But. All right, in case there's something I missed here. Of course, they're shooting at the Batmobile.
Oh, this
Famous
is where he
blowing
drops
up
the bomb.
Ace Count. Yep. Drops the bomb on him.
So how many guys were there?
Because
4?
about 9 guys
9 guys.
shooting missiles at them from the Batwing. 15. Yeah, 16 definitely kills that dude.
Oh yeah.
He does it with style. Yeah, he did.
I mean, he kills a lot
Here
of
we go,
guys
Fitch.
for.
Yeah, he killed that boy. He killed him. This guy right here, Flamer. This Flamer, he did. The flame blowing guy.
I mean, he's pretty effective for a guy who can't move his neck.
I know. He was happy killing that fat guy. That's right. Then here you go.
Oh yeah, the bat.
We're at like 19 here. And boom, 20. Oh no, he's still alive. 19. Never mind, he did. And then let's not forget Kilmore right here. They did. Kilmore
See, but I don't consider that a kill. Like he just dodged what behind him. No,
he could have put it out of the shield, killed all them people.
Now,
Killed Two-Face.
Now, do you consider it a kill, or is he just? I mean,
yeah, I consider it a kill.
There's the debates here about individual kills. Like the Two-Face, you can say, just kind of like the Joker, he set him up, and then death is what happened. But then you have ones that are blatant kills that are like,
kill Two-Face. There you go. I don't have to save you. Yeah, Michael Keaton has to think about that.
He's like, oh, I could have saved him. Oh, snap.
Yeah, he did.
This is the one that like is intense, like right here.
Yeah, he rams right into that. They did. They DED did. That little boy right there.
Right here,
Spear Roman Reigns right there.
But once again, that's one of those like he just tackled him, and then the result was death.
I acknowledge Batman. Shoots that dude right in the face. He dies the greatest death of all cinema. And then you have Adam West here. Boom. Dead.
That is so stupid. That has to be the stupidest death in all of Batman.
It did it. It counts. Look how devastated Dick Grayson is. Devastated.
I feel that scene's longer though. That's like I was trying to find that scene to watch the whole scene.
It's definitely longer.
To what happens to like all of them.
Oh, they hit all of them. And then the Penguin just stands there. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Holy disappearing man to Batman.
Yes. I mean, it's, yeah. Total kill. So.
And do any of us feel bad about any of those kills? Right? Like the whole debate of like,
the thing is, but it's in a movie. Like,
yeah, but like
really
watching it, are you like, oh, I can't believe that Batman, killed those guys. Like that whole dilemma of like, is as his character, should he kill the bad guy? Like watching all those scenes, like rewatching it, it really didn't even sink in. Like, oh yeah, I guess all those guys are dead. And it doesn't even click like those are the bad guys. They were trying to kill him. And instead of him dying, he got them killed. Right. Mm-hmm. And so like, do we feel like there's some sort of moral dilemma in what he was doing because he was defeating the bad guys in those moments? Like it's like that kill or be killed kind of scenario. And is, in war, I mean, that's always a moral discussion, isn't it? Like in war, is it okay for people to be killed? Right. Like, is it ethical? Is it moral for that to happen? And that's a big debate. But I think that like that is a totally different thing. Like when I've talked to different people about, especially vets that come back from war and they're really struggling with the things that they had to do while they were in the military. It's like that scenario is completely different than walking down the street and like taking someone's life. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably why in that scenario, like he's in a war with this massive enemy, 100 versus 1. And we see this battle, this war is not like a one-on-one, but like when he's going to kill Joker or something, like that feels like a moral dilemma because he can save him, right? Should he save him? Should he let him die? But in these like battles and wars, it doesn't seem to be like we have much sympathy for the henchmen that get killed.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is good stuff. Keep going. My question to you guys is: has Batman ever killed in the comics?
Yeah.
In the source code, in the main thing.
Well, we got the Frank Miller example from Mr. Snyder, so there's that.
And can you guys think of any others?
Probably. I don't. The thing is,
in Injustice, or not in Injustice. We have in the clips of comic. He does kill Joker for and then he turns, and then Superman like breaks in the prison to give him a hug, because
it's the other way
that's an
around.
example.
Superman
And then,
kills Joker.
Back to what Dave was saying, when Batman used to carry a no in Injustice.
Yeah, it's Superman
There's
that
a storyline where Man actually, and he did it. He
in the comics is one, but in the game it's another.
No, there's a story where Batman does kill Joker. He did it for Superman. But, back to what Dave was saying, he used to carry a gun and kill people. I mean, he's killed a bunch in the comics.
I mean, there's probably like a lot more of like the collateral damage kills. They debate at the end. It depends on how you interpret the end of the Killing Joke, if Batman kills the Joker or not in that comic. So
yeah,
I mean,
like that's a good question. Like, did he kill him in that?
That's how the ambiguousness of it works.
It's true. I'm trying to find something here. So you guys can keep going here.
I think you'd have to like really dissect the comics, because there's a lot of examples probably of, like we talked about, the collateral damage kills, the kills that happen just in the course of his mission. But there's a big difference between killing, like Dave was saying, a one-on-one type than killing in the battle, or people that like we said, like that died because of what was going on around them.
Yeah, but like, if Batman lets people die, like as he's fighting criminals, isn't he kind of killing them? Like,
I mean, that's the debate, right? Like, that was the same thing about, if I shoot a bullet at you, Bryan, and you dodge it, and there's someone behind you and they get hit, did you kill that person?
no.
So that was kind of like what happened there with Kilmer in the Batmobile. He moves the Batmobile when Two-Face shoots, and the people behind him, blow up. But Two-Face was the one that shot the rocket. So it's like, are you responsible? Are you part of it because they were trying to attack you? That's a different kind of Batman's responsible for their death, but did Batman kill him? That's a different idea. Batman's responsible for the death of this person. Like, he was responsible for the death of Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight, but he didn't go in attacking him to kill him. That was just the fallout of the fall. It could have very easily, when they fell, that Harvey got up and then they had to fight. So that is a big difference between, are my actions going in with the intent to kill, or is it happens? I think the biggest quandrum about this whole question is goes to, should Batman have killed the Joker?
Which is what we're getting into right now. So some references. So some people ask, like, has Batman ever killed in comics? And he certainly has. So in the very first comic that Batman was ever in, first appearance, and he was created in March, but this came out in May 1939. In the very first comic of Detective Comics 27, and let me find it here, is Batman has this douchebag right here, and suddenly Stryker, with the strength of a madman, tears himself free from the grasp of the Batman. Sure, I did it, but you won't send me the chair for it. And notice how Batman has no ears here, little Bob Kane air there.
Looks like Space Ghost.
And Batman punches him, and boom, he's falling right into the acid tank. Where have we seen this before?
Oh,
a
no.
fitting ending for his kind.
Okay.
Batman just straight kills this dude. And they thank him for it. So, and we of course know that, Batman let Jack Napier, or however you want to say the Joker's name is, fall into that vat of chemicals. He let him die. He let him become that. Now, in one of the early stories of Batman, Bill Finger actually has Batman fighting supernatural entities, and this is like
what is in Batman's hand?
Ask James Cole when you're older.
No, I won't, because he doesn't know what that is.
Never mind. It's a silver statue. It's silver. And
I think it's the Mother Mary. That's what it is.
Yes.
It's a statue of Mary statue. That's what it is.
The statue. Yeah, it might be a statue of Mary. But Batman first supernatural villain was a guy called the Mad Monk. And Bill Finger writes a scenario here. And Batman's like, a silver statue while the vampires sleep during the daytime. I shall melt this statue and make 2 silver bullets, one for Dollar and one for the monk. And only a silver bullet may kill a vampire. And we see Batman loading that bullet into a gun. So to find the open tomb in which these vampires sleep will bring him to death, and that will release Julie from the curse, if you will. Batman pauses before he opens the tombs of the vampires and goes, boom, never again will you harm any mortal being. The spell is broken, Julie Madison, and I love you. This is my favorite reference to show people that Batman is killed. This one right here. This is where Batman, a few issues later in Batman, well, this is actually in Batman #1, in Batman's debut issue, where the Joker's introduced and Catwoman and everything. And this is when Batman faces Hugo Strange. And Hugo Strange actually throws some big giant monsters at him. And this kind of helps with what Dave argued there. So the bullets take their toll. The truck crashes into a tree. So this must have been Affleck's Batman that probably made that happen, or Pattinson's. As the monster rises, the steel-like rope of the Batman loops this rope around his neck, and the rising Batplane jerks the monster from the ground. He hangs him right from the Batplane. The rope steers before, but you're much more deadly. The giant tries to break the ever-tightening rope. a few moments later, he's probably better off this way. So in Batman #1, his debut issue, it hangs dude from the Batplane intentionally, totally purposely kills him.
And what did you say he was? He was some sort of creature?
He was some sort of like mutated monster, but he was a person that was mutated.
So there definitely seems
As
to
a
be
soul.
a theme, especially in these first issues. It's definitely get a vibe of like vanquishing evil. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
evil, and he is vanquishing evil, and so there's no like moral dilemma of murder, because this is I am getting rid of the evil. You know, like that first one you showed, it's like a fitting end to his kind. You know, he's getting rid of the evil in the world, which is a little bit different than what we see in some of the movies, which is the idea of that he is vengeance, right? Like he's trying to get back and trying to serve justice to everything that's going on. But the beginning things doesn't seem like it's necessarily about serving justice, or what I mean, or getting vengeance on what somebody did wrong, and like evening the scores. It's like these are evil and bad people that is a threat to humanity, and I'm vanquishing evil. So it's definitely a different take than, because then it definitely falls under that the whole like Monster Hunter kind of idea of I'm not going around to murder people. Like I'm vanquishing evil, I'm vanquishing darkness from the earth. And I think that's a lot of like monster movies, when you have the monsters being hunted down. I think that's the whole purpose, where they're not hunting down a person. They're hunting down evil to vanquish, to remove it from the earth. So
True.
very different than the whole concept of the crime fighting, which seems like more of a more modern take of who Batman is. That he's a crime fighter. He's preventing crimes from happening. But these three, if these are the earlier expressions of it, it's I am vanquishing evil. So it's a little different perspective.
It's a very, very good, very, very good point. Now, I think now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler and Finch, but aren't these stories retconned since Crisis on Infinite Earths as actually being the stories of Batman of Earth 2?
No, we now have the Omniverse with the multiple multiverses, and everything counts. So,
which I'm not there in my chronological reading of DC Comics. I'm still in New 52.
So basically we have the Omniverse gets mentioned in New 52. We have the Omniverse, but then we were supposed to have where everything was brought together and put that it all mattered, it all counted. But then
so this is canon. It happened.
But now we have the multiverse where it's just unlimited everything. So
I hate multiverses. I hate them. And
that's how they fix their inconsistencies. It's like, oh well, that's just a different one. It's a different guy. It's a different scenario. It's a different universe.
I probably talked about this with Finch a few times, and I just think multiverses are lazy. It makes nothing matter. Nothing has consequence. Nothing matters.
Dude, that's what I've been preaching for a while. Like, because I get tired of it, because they're like, oh, that was just on this earth, or we're gonna bring it from this. I'm like, no, because then you take away stakes. I mean, this was brought up when we had our discussions on Deadpool and Wolverine and stuff.
Yeah, it's just lazy. As a fan of writing,
it is, but I like them.
Oh, okay. You like them. That's what I couldn't remember.
I mean, it can be fun if like you have something where you have, Keaton's Batman gets visited by Adam West's Batman type multiverse thing. Like, oh, that's cool. But when it's so slightly different, and it's like, oh, this, especially in comics, where you don't really have the stark change in the history of the characters, it just gets redundant. especially when you're reading, ongoing stories, and you want something to matter. You want something to happen in the story instead of continually finding a way to reset itself.
I'm with you. And one story that's kind of bloated out of continuity and kind of been a little confusing with the Killing Joke and Three Jokers and stuff and where things take place is the origin of the Joker. And this leads to our final big question. If Batman were to kill anybody, should it be the Joker? Should Batman kill the Joker? So we know this classic story of the Joker in one comic you should check out, Dave, is Batman Zero Year. In Batman Zero Year, which the Batman with Pattinson is based off of, the Joker was the leader of the Red Hood, so they retconned this Killing Joke story that we know, and he was intentionally the leader of the Red Hood. He was intentionally a criminal. It wasn't like a failed comedian that runs into the story, kind of like the Killing Joke does. But in the Killing Joke here, we see, the ringleader's taking off across the catwalk. He's still in range. And then someone off screen says, no more shooting. It's, of course, the Batman. I'm here now. I'll take care of it my way. Geez, what? Is that human bat guy in all the papers lately? So Red Hood, we meet again. And Red Hood says, no, this isn't happening. Oh, dear God, what have you said to punish me? Don't come closer. Don't come any closer or I'll jump. And he jumps. Batman does not grab that cape there. There is no grabbing of the cape there, sir. None at all. He doesn't stop him. There's no nothing. And he jumps in the vat. And he becomes something. Oh no, that was a little glitch there. My face burns. My face burns.
Well, also, don't forget that the Killing Joke, he even says that he chooses his multiple choice origins, and it's an unreliable narrator that doesn't solidify that what we're reading actually is what happened. And that's what makes the Killing Joke so rich, is he even says to Batman, like, that's the way it could have been. So it's never definitive that this is everything, but elements have always been taken as the actual story.
What's a bit of the basis of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. But
and the same thing with Zero Year. They take elements because nothing has been definitive, and then we have the whole Three Jokers thing, but whatever.
Yeah, Three Jokers, it's its own thing.
I gotta reread that. Like, sit down and just reread it all.
I think we all do. Especially Dave, you need to read that. But this is what Dave was referencing here. So out of all the things that the Joker's done, in Killing Joke, he does the whole thing with Barbara Gordon. He shoots her in the spine. He paralyzes her. Possibly rapes her.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he rapes her.
It's a little too sexual assault.
He tortures and humiliates the
Commissioner Gordon, absolutely Finch. But he definitely rapes Barbara. Like, definitely. What did I miss? He kills Jason Todd in a story a little bit after this, beats him with a crowbar. He kills Commissioner Gordon's second wife and just shoots her in the face in No Man's Land. All the horrible things Joker's done. And in the story of Batman Hush, in this particular issue of Batman Hush, Joker has just shot Batman's best friend, Thomas Elliot. And Batman's kind of like, I can't take anymore. And he starts thinking about like he starts beating the crap out of the Joker. He starts choking him, and he thinks about how one day he might find Catwoman dead in an alley one day, and how he cannot let that happen. He says, I will not allow that nightmare to become a reality. Because as this story Hush is really a love story of him and Catwoman, a good bit of it. And he reveals to Catwoman for the first time in canon that he is Bruce Wayne. So this is what happens. He says he dies by my hand tonight. But he dies tonight by my hand. Groom. Help! Wild man! Madman! Batty man! There will be no escape. I love this shot. Such a great shot by Jim Lee. No! Joker is begging for mercy. There's nothing I can do to him that will cause him the agony that he has brought upon others. And someone pulls a gun on Batman.
Commissioner Gordon.
But I can come close. Stand up and put your hands in the air. He shoots Batman right on the shoulder. Just a little flesh wound. Batman says, I could crush his windpipe and sever all oxygen from his brain. Jim Lee, freaking amazing. The next shot, I will drop you. And Batman's still thinking about killing him. He's not even paying attention that he's getting shot at. I will push his ribs right through his lungs and rupture his heart. You have to think about what you are doing, who and what made you who you are, your role models, the beliefs they instilled in you, and think of how the Joker could never understand that. It's what makes him who he is. Think. Batman's not thinking about what James said. He's thinking, I could pound his skull into the pavement until it fractured into so many pieces his brain would spill out. This is written by Jeff Loeb. In my opinion, one of the best Batman writers, if not writer, period. And Jeff Loeb also wrote The Long Halloween.
Jeff Loeb, great writer, but cannot nail the endings.
He cannot, and he totally bombed this ending, if there ever was one. But yes. And James, like, he just can't believe that Batman's just not registering. And he's like, God help me. You have thought this through. It is what should have been done a long time ago. I may no longer carry a badge, but I still believe in the policeman's oath to protect and serve. This is when Commissioner Gordon is kind of retired a little bit. All I can do is appeal you through for our friendship. I wouldn't let you do this when he shot my daughter, killed my wife. I don't know how I could stop you, but I won't let you throw your life away. Jim Gordon, with all he's lost, I thought he'd understand. Jim, you and I have seen more than our fair share of tragedies and thirsted for revenge. If Batman wanted to be a killer, he could have started long ago. But it's a line. On one side, we believe in the law. On the other, sometimes the law fails us. Maybe that's why I've understood you, allowed you to help protect this city. Batman, if you cross that line, if you killed the Joker tonight, it will lead you. I will lead the hunt to bring you to justice. Batman with blood all over his hands. Great shot. In the eyes of the law, in my eyes, you'd be no different from him. And Batman says, how many more lives are we going to let him ruin? I don't care. I won't let him ruin yours. And I'm going to cry. I really am. But Jim leads Batman away from the body of the Joker, and Joker says one last joke, I'm innocent. And it was from this alley, like this one, that a man with a gun emerged from the darkness and murdered my mother and father. And that single moment, my childhood ended. I made a promise in the grave of my parents I would rid the city of the evil that took their lives. Tonight, I nearly became a part of that evil. And that's a whole other thing. Then I want to throw this in here. The Under the Red Hood. Now, Under the Red Hood, Jason's come back from the dead because of Superboy Prime punching through reality and Infinite Crisis, the sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths.
But that got retcon. That got retcon later in the comics.
Yeah, it totally got retcon.
I like the retcon better.
So, what's your retcon? What's the retcon?
That it was Talia al Ghul who did it.
Yeah, that's a little bit better. So,
like that she put him in the Lazarus pit. That's what they used in the movie. That's like what they did like in the comics when they retconned it. It just worked better.
That kind of works better. So in the Hush story, I do know that retcon. I just like Superboy Prime changing reality. But in the retcon, Jason Todd was dug up, and Talia puts his body in the Lazarus pit. He's trained by Ra's al Ghul in all the different ways, and he comes back to Gotham as basically like a weapon to hit Batman. And in the story of Hush, when Batman sees Jason Todd in the graveyard, when Hush is kind of messing with Batman, it actually was Jason Todd, but then the later switches to Clayface. So Batman is wondering whether Jason Todd was really back. Was he really real? So, yeah, so this leads to this. Enough. It all ends tonight. You say you want to save Gotham, to kill a part of it so it can survive. And then, like, he's being a crap out of Jason, you know. You say you want to be better than me, but it won't happen. Boom, boom, boom. I know I failed you, but I tried to save you, Jason. And I'm trying to save you now.
Spare the rod.
As I beat the crap out of you. Is that what you think this is about? You're letting me die? I don't know what clouds your judgment worse, your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality. Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me. But why? Why on God's earth is he still alive? Love it. Now we got ourselves a party. One big happy all together again. Who's got a camera? Dracula, you must have a digital Mickey Poo in that hardware store you wear around your wrist. Love it. Get one of me and the kid. First, then you and me, then the three of us. Then one with the crowbar. You'll be as quiet as possible. I'll put one in your lap first. Party pooper, no kick for you. Ignoring what he's done in the past, blindly, stupidly, disregarding the entire graveyards he's filled, the thousands who have suffered, the friends he's crippled. I thought killing me, that I'd be the last person you'd ever let him hurt. Bruce is really thinking about that. It had been, if it had been you that he left to a bloody mass, if it had been you that he left in agony, if it had been you taken from this world, I would have done nothing but search the planet for this pathetic pile of evil, death-worshipping garbage and send him off to hell. You don't understand. Yeah, I don't think you've ever understood. What, your moral code just won't allow for that? It's too hard to cross that line? No, God Almighty, no. It'd be too damn easy. All I have ever wanted to do is kill him. For years, a day hasn't gone by where I haven't envisioned taking him. This takes place very shortly after that alley scene where Jim stops him from killing Joker. taking him and spending an entire month putting him through the most horrendous, mind-boggling forms of torture. All of it building to an end with him broken, butchered, and maimed, pleading, screaming, and the worst kind of agony as he carries into the monstrous death. You see, I thought about that too. I want him dead more than anything I've ever wanted. But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back. Why? What? What? Why do all the Cub Scouts and spandex always say that? If I cross that line, there's no coming back. I'm not talking about killing Cobblepot or Scarecrow or Clayface or not Riddler or Dead. Just talking about him. Just him. And doing it because he took me away from you. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. That is so sweet. Well, you won't have a choice. I won't. This is it. This is the time you decide. If you won't kill this pathetic, psychotic piece of filth, I will. You want to stop me, you're going to have to kill me. Stop this, enough, you know I won't. All you guys a headshot, I'm going to blow his brains out, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to shoot me right in my face. This is turning out so much better than I thought. Joker being the Joker. Stop this. It's him or me. You have to decide. Please don't. I'll count to 3. Put the gun down. 1. Don't. 2. No! 3. And he throws a batarang into pretty much Jason's jugular. Well, almost. And takes him out. You got him, you expert rune tuning, eagle-eyed goth marksman, son of a... You baked that batarang off the pipe! Oh, God, I love it. You managed to find a way to win. Exactly. Found a way to win. And everybody still loses. Except me, my dark little pumpkin pies. I'm the one who's going to get what he wants tonight. No! Let's just love how it's ending. Toodles! Fate is a funny thing. And, yeah. That's pretty much the end of it. So, well, there's more to it. So, Joker has done all this stuff to Commissioner Gordon, Barbara, Jason. That's pretty much what the whole 3 Jokers is about. Is about the trauma between Barbara, Jason, and Jim, and how it's helped Batman. So, boys, starting with Finch, if Batman kills one person, should it be the Joker?
And everything Jason Todd said in that is reason enough, man. Like, Batman's a stronger guy than I would give in. But like, you're right, man. Same with Commissioner Gordon. Like, I don't know why these guys are defending after everything. More valid point considering technically Joker killed him. So, for him to want vengeance or, revenge, that's perfectly acceptable. And it infuriated me that he went to Earth to stop Jason from hurting him, and he stopped him. He made more of a point to stop him from killing Joker than trying to stop the Joker, which is infuriating. So, yeah, I definitely think Batman, if he kills anybody, it should be the Joker. So,
okay, yeah. I mean, Jason brought up a pretty good argument. Dave, what do you think, man?
So I got a stupid perspective. Like,
no, it's fine.
I don't know all the storylines, and if you went back over all the storylines, why did the Joker kill all these different people? Probably because Batman wouldn't stop hunting them. He wouldn't stop chasing them. He wouldn't stop trying to get them, and he's doing all these killings like to say, cut it out. Like, I can hurt you more than you can hurt me. So stop trying to, mess up my plans. And if Batman would have just not been Batman, would any of those people died? Right? Like, his sidekicks and all the other people, like the Joker is killing them because the Batman is chasing him and he can't get him to stop killing him, like chasing him. So he's killing the people, thinking eventually he's going to, is there enough suffering that he can endure that either one, Batman will go insane, or two, Batman's going to kill him. Like, is it a push to try to get Batman to actually do the thing? Like, is he going to end this whole thing? Because it's just perpetual. Each person, like, when does it stop? I mean, if this is going to sound really dark, but if Batman wants all these bad things to stop happening, maybe it's himself. Maybe it's the Batman that needs to die. Because if there is no Batman, then Joker's not killing all these people that's in his family, that are in his friends, that are his neighbors, that is, all these other people. Like, if Bruce Wayne would just be Bruce Wayne, I mean, yeah, the Joker's going to do what the Joker's going to do. Like, he's criminal, like he's a criminal mastermind, but most of the time, like, how often is he like doing things against other criminal people, trying to get, trying to be the strongest or the most influence, or, a lot of the people that get hurt is because they're trying to stop him and they're dying in the crossover, like it's in the chase that they're dying. So if there was no more Batman chasing the Joker, how many people would still be alive? You know what I'm saying? Even those collateral damage people, right? They're dying because they're trying to stop the Batman from getting to the bad guy, and Batman's killing them because he's trying to get to the bad guy to apprehend him. So, if there was no Batman, if there was no vigilante, if Bruce Wayne was just Bruce Wayne, would all the death and the killing and all this hurt and pain and agony, like, half the time I would imagine that Batman should blame himself that the people are dying, these people that are close to him, right? Like, he's pursuing. So, it's an interesting thing. Like, if the Batman wasn't around, how many lives would be saved? How much collateral damage wouldn't be there? So, now, if you make me answer, yeah, Joker needs to die. Like, just to kind of wrap it up, like, he's not going to stop, right? And it's only going to perpetuate, and it's only going to get worse. If he would have done it right at the beginning, then everybody else would not have experienced the heartache that they did, because the Joker is trying to prevent Batman from getting him, and he's trying to hurt him. So if the Joker would have been knocked out at the beginning, then I think it would have saved a lot of heartache in the long run.
So a story written by Scott Snyder, and is death of the family. So the story where Todd dies is death in the family. So death of the family, and its sequel, Endgame. Basically, the Joker is pretty much goes on to what you said. Like, the reason he wants to end the Bat family, or he causes that pain, is because he wants it to get back to the way it was originally, where it was just Batman and Joker. That and Joker is basically, the way Scott wrote it, and the way he explained it to me is basically he was becoming a father for the first time, and he had all these fears of becoming a father. Like, does having a kid make me weak? Am I going to be able to take care of them? Am I going to, all the fears of just being a father? And, is it so horrible to think that, like, things were easier when I wasn't a father, and it was just me? And that horrible thought he gave to the Joker. He said, this is going to be the Joker going to Batman and saying, you were better when it was just you and me, and all these things make you, those people made you weak. And that's the Joker loves Batman. Like, he is in love with Batman. So he just wants it to be them two. And that's why he'll keep doing these horrible things. So, you feel the Joker should die. Bench says the Joker should die. Tyler, what do you think, man?
Well, first of all, I think Dave brought up multiple things instead of just one.
Sure did.
The first conversation being, and we've seen this both ways, is Batman bringing the madness to Gotham, or is Batman the answer to the madness that Gotham was creating within itself? Second of all, if you just cut away the Jason Todd instance, the Barbara Gordon, and the whole Bat family and just put Batman versus the Joker, the problem is you have the Joker who is insane, who is a sociopath, who kills, like you had the laughing fish. You keep going on with different stories, but the problem is he gets captured, he gets put back, then he gets out and he kills more, and he keeps killing. Now, even in our justice system, with Joker, like he can't go to trial, he's insane or whatever. So it makes you go, well, if he keeps getting out of the mental hospital, what do we do? Because now we are responsible for every person who's being murdered because we haven't taken care of this person.
And he will not stop ever.
And we have the death penalty and things like that. And we're not debating that at the moment. But the idea is Batman for he gets the Joker, he stops the Joker, he puts him back in Arkham, Joker gets out. And then he murders a bunch of people. And it's a game to him now. So once it becomes a game to him, now you have to say, well, now am I responsible for every murder the Joker commits because I haven't fully stopped the Joker? And, the system in which I'm trying to work in by capturing the Joker and putting him up for trial and he's being incarcerated, it's not working because they're failing to keep him in his incarceration. And, the whole thing about Batman, it'd be so easy and something like that. Well, would it be that he would kill the Joker? And then does that just all of a sudden now completely alleviate him of any sense of moral responsibility? Or if he killed the Joker, could he have stopped after that one? Or is it him just telling himself that he can't do it because he doesn't want to see what would happen to himself? Could he just do it and then lay down being Batman? Because in a lot of ways, Batman has checks and balances, because if he did kill the Joker, then kept going, he's gonna have to go up against Dick and Barbara, and the Bat family would keep him in check. So it starts to ask, well, are you responsible for not just stopping the Joker? And that goes back to what I said about with the Dark Knight, in the idea that if Batman, back to the same with the Jim Gordon thing, where he says, I will hunt you. Okay, then he just stops being Batman, because that's what Batman can be. He can be what is needed. And if what he is needed is at this point, like the Joker has gone to the point where he needs to be stopped, can I stop the Joker and walk away? And that goes back to that personal constitution that he has. And I think in that comic, no. But in other versions, yes. But the Joker has no sense of anything, of consequences, and nobody's willing to step up and actually just stop the Joker, then they're responsible for every death and heinous act that he continually commits. So should Batman kill the Joker? That's the question. And my thing is, what?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, because you were about to give your answer.
No, my thing is, I think at some point Batman probably should have killed the Joker, because he's done other crimes, he's done other kills that haven't had the weight that this one has. That's the difference. This is a one that is personal and it's weighted, and that he has to carry it. But like any other soldier or law enforcement person, if they're dealing with this person, because an officer, if they killed somebody, that like in this situation, they have that face they have to live with. Bruce is asking if Batman can do it. If Batman did it, he can just take the costume off and walk away. Batman's no more. And then Bruce has to live with it. And is that something, one more thing that he could live with inside himself? But how many more people are safe because of the Joker being taken off the board?
So my answer, if I was given the keys of the kingdom to write Batman, which of course would be the greatest dream of my whole life. But if I was given the keys of the kingdom, I would kill the Joker in the first issue of my story, and I would have it be not Batman that did it. I would have it be Jim Gordon. I would have Jim Gordon.
That's a great story, but that's not what we're talking about.
I would have him kill. I would have Jim Gordon kill the Joker.
But see, going back to the thing with Jim is Jim has taken the oath in front of people to put himself out there to uphold the law. So if Jim does it, he corrupts Jim Gordon, the person and everything that he is. He can't go anywhere else. He can't do anything else in life because he will then be corrupted. But Batman has the mask. He's not held to the law. He just has his personal turmoil.
I know.
So if he does the killing, he can just take that mask off. And then he can go about his life as Bruce Wayne.
Totally with you.
And just hold, and like with whatever he's internalizing, he just has to deal with it.
And I think that's when you have, I think that's when you run into other like monster hunters, like their persona becomes who they are. That becomes their identity. Like Van Helsing, right? Like he hunted monsters and that's part of his character, but then that became his identity. Like everything that he did was about that. And I think that's what the dilemma that Batman would have to do. Like, is he going to just become that and that would be him? Or is he going to take it off and walk away? Because I don't know, like, you know, again, like the different monster hunters, like that's, everyone knew that's who they were, right? Like when you hear the Winchesters, like the Winchesters, they're monster hunters. Like that's,
but even then, there is the episode where Sam and Dean argue over what to do about I'm trying to remember what the character, but Sam says to Dean, like, what do we do? And Dean's like, we kill monsters. He goes, no, we hunt evil. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
She is not evil.
Oh, that Ruby character.
It was, I'm trying to remember. It was like, it wasn't the werewolf one because they had that debate with her. And then it was later on when they had was it the
vampire?
It was, hold on. It was Jules Stanton's guest starring episode from Firefly. When she shows up and her thing is she eats the pituitary gland or something. And she's doing it because of her baby or whatever. And they're finding them off like recently dead victims. And Sam's going to let her live because she has her code. And what she's doing is already deceased, but Dean kills her anyways.
Yeah, because she's a monster.
Because she's a monster. And they have the whole debate about killing monsters and killing evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this, Batman does kill the Joker in The Dark Knight Returns. So, I mean, that's pulling from an Elseworlds tale. But just throw that out there.
But what I'm saying is I would not have Batman kill the Joker. I would have Jim Gordon do it. And then Batman has to live with, I could have done this and I could have took it and ended Batman and have Batman take the hit, but I didn't do it because I was a coward, maybe. And then Jim has to live with the fact that he finally did it. Barbara has to deal with the fact that her dad killed him finally. And Jim has to deal with all the repercussions. And Batman has to deal with it that all this time he never did the one thing that he should have done. And that's the story I would do. So I would not. What's that?
That would be a great story.
Because I wrote it. So
what repercussions is there though?
I mean, Jim would go to prison.
I feel like everybody in Gotham would applaud him. Everybody would applaud him.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost be like one of those like him on trial.
Cop,
killed him in the line of duty.
But
yeah,
all the Batman villains are afraid of the Joker. So when the Joker's dead and the number one cop to take him down is no longer there, and all you have is Batman going to be worse? Is Batman, is he dealing with everything? I would have Batman just kind of sit in his cave and not want to do anything. So, like, Like,
then,
it
'cause
just
then you
They're
ask,
playing ping pong by himself. He's standing
but
in the
then who
corner.
takes over? Who fills Gordon's role, and what is their relationship and their opinion on the Batman? Much like we've seen in different stories and media of when another person tries to lead the police force and they're against Batman, because Jim walked that balance.
I have someone in mind, but to be continued. so
For a different episode.
so
I
final
think
answer.
I think the end of the Dark Knight up though is where Joker's hanging up there. He tells Batman, "You truly are incorruptible."
I think we weren't able to hear Finch's full answer, unfortunately. Are you still there with us, bud? You're saying the Joker hanging upside down?
I think he muted himself.
No. Well, technical difficulty. It happens in podcasts.
No, I said when the Joker's hanging upside down, he says, "You truly are incorruptible."
Yep, because that the whole point of that movie was trying to corrupt him. And I mean, he still ends up killing Harvey at the end. But
But even in that, if you think about, that's their first time at each other. I mean, I don't think Batman should kill the Joker like straight up first day on the job. But when you have that history of him getting caught, released, and he's just massacring people, there has to be a time where he looks and says, "The system that I'm upholding is broken, and this person is continually murdering more and more people." And he has to have that battle inside himself, because every time the Joker gets out, he kills, and then Batman's responsible because he could have stopped him.
He's got to have a pretty good lawyer. Like, do any of these episodes show like the court scene? Like, he gets arrested and like he always ends up back like at Arkham. And
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's a
his
combination of
lawyer that's getting him off. Like, oh well, he's just insane.
it's the
Like,
insanity, and then he breaks out. You know, he gets
yeah,
breaks
like
out.
the
every
whole
time,
plot,
like
the
at
whole
some
the whole
point.
the whole plot of Joker Folie à Deux or whatever is the court scene, is his trial.
That's what I
So
want to see. I want to see more like how is he, like, because it's a repetition cycle. Like, how many times do you how does this court system let him out over and over and over again? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
so final answer. Should Batman kill Finch? Do you think he might be able to answer? No. Maybe.
Only
I'm just gonna
the Joker.
Say just the Joker. Okay. I'm with you. I hear it.
I'm gonna answer because I gotta get off here because it's been over 2 hours. I'm gonna just say this: taking out the factors of, like, we're talking people, we're not talking monsters, we're talking about like people and criminals. Taking that into consideration, I think it comes down to it's a last resort. It's a surviving of, is he protecting a life versus just doing it in the intent of murdering? You know, kind of like in the Dark Knight scenario where it's, you know, if he doesn't act, then that person dies and it's his fault. You know, we always try to, I think he'll always work to find a way not to, but it's the intent of, does he go in willingly? That's his number one priority, to kill and stop, or is it the last resort in the sense of protecting innocence? I think that's really where the line is. So should Batman kill? The answer is, it is between each scenario. I don't think there is a blanket answer. I think it's a case by case situation. But I got to bounce, guys.
Bye,
Thank you.
Dave.
And kind of like what Tyler was saying, same kind of thing. Like, I think, when you think about other superheroes and who they battle, who they fight, like a lot of times the bad, whoever the enemy is, whether it's Thanos in Marvel or it's, I'm not as well versed in the DC universe, but like when these other superheroes are fighting the bad guys, like we don't blink an eye when they get destroyed, right? When they get killed, when they when they win, right? But I think where it comes in is like, if Batman is defeating evil, if he's fighting off the monsters, he's fighting off, he's being the hero to, the great battle between good and evil. I mean, when you look at the human element of this, right, as we think about the redemptive qualities of people, right? Is it at a point in which someone can't return from? Depending on your worldview, I know myself, I believe that there's never a point in which somebody can't turn their life around, right? They can make a change, right? The whole redemption story. I think as human individuals, I don't think that there's ever a point where you're just like, hey, we're going to write them off because they're bad, they're evil. I mean, there's so many people whose lives has been transformed because of a change that has happened in their life. But when you look at like the superheroes and you look at the fiction writing and you think about like good versus evil, like every great work of good versus evil, good overcomes evil. Like that blanketly, that's what it is. Good triumphs over evil. I mean, and any kind of storyline that you look at like that is kind of the end product. And I think when we're looking at the human element, I think redemption and change and hope, because I think that's a big thing, especially with Superman, and that they've dabbled in with Batman, having this idea of hope is essential when it comes to the human perspective. And I think when we look at the idea of the monsters, the evil that's in the world, that good needs to vanquish evil. The darkness has to be overcome by the light. And darkness and light cannot occupy the same space. The moment you turn on a light, the moment you light a candle, the darkness is removed and vanquished. And so I think for Batman to be the light, to be the one that vanquishes evil, I think sometimes that means the removal and the overcoming of that evil. So, I think when it depends on who Batman's fighting. If it's the criminals, do no harm, try to seek justice, right? But at the same time, if it's good versus evil, the vanquishing of evil is destined to happen by good.
Yeah. So you say that if it's vanquishing evil, he should kill.
I think so. I think you have to think about what the word kill means, right? So, defeat, conquer, overcome, those are, they carry a different weight than the word kill, which often we think of murder, right? I'm murdering somebody, right? I don't think there is justified murder, but I think that there are instances, especially like we were talking about in war. War is not murder, right? It is battle, and often when we look at those things, it is good versus evil. Who's going to overcome? And I think that's where, when we look, especially the world stage, we have a hard time, because sometimes talk about that no-win scenario. Sometimes it's hard to pinpoint who is the good. It's hard to pinpoint who is the evil, right? And I think that's the position Batman finds himself in often, is he becoming the evil that he's trying to vanquish? And just as Jim Gordon was going to do, he'd have to put him down, right? If Batman crosses that line and becomes the evil that he's been hunting, he's no longer the light that's going to overcome. Jim Gordon now has to become the light to vanquish him. So, yeah, it's an interesting paradox on when Batman goes too far.
It really is. And my my that's why it's such a good topic. My final opinion on it is Friedrich Nietzsche said that when dealing with monsters, be careful you do not become a monster. For when you stare into the abyss also stares into you. And the whole point of Batman, this character, my favorite character there is, probably because I deal with abandonment issues. But what when Bruce's parents were murdered, Bruce died, and he died with them, and Batman was created, and his whole drive, everything that he does, is because of that death. So for Bruce to be an agent of death, for him to kill, it's like he pulled that gun on his parents and shot him himself. It's it's saying that your death, like your death was murder. So then that's where that fine line is, like their death was murder, but it was, and in some cases it's an accident. Joe Chill's going for the pearls and he accidentally shoots him. Then he just shoots the other one, just because. But a lot of times it's intentional. He wants the pearls, he kills them. But if Bruce becomes a murderer, if he starts killing his villains, he's worse than any of them. And a great book I own is Batman and Philosophy. Love that book. And in it, it brings up, should Batman kill the Joker? Should Batman have a Robin? Is it child endangerment? Is it, is Batman the real enemy? That as Batman exists, as the good exists, evil exists. And because Batman exists, that's why we have the evil. And if Batman becomes that evil, then it's just straight evil. There's no separation. Only way that evil will prevail is if good men do nothing. Once
And if-
you
Sorry, go ahead.
but darkness cannot, the reason that we know what light is because we know darkness. And if that light turns out, then there's just nothing but darkness. We don't know what light, and we lose hope. And the whole point of Batman is that in that darkness is a light, is something that's trying to change this evil and trying to end it. So I feel that no matter what the situation is, if Batman is the peak of human conditioning, if he is essentially the perfect human that he's supposed to be in mind, body, and everything, even though we know he's not because of all the trauma, then he should always find a way. If in a recent issue of Batman, he falls from space and he lands and he survives landing on Earth with no protection. He finds a way that he can have his body. It's crazy, but he always finds a way. Like that's the point. He always has something in the belt. He always finds a way, and it proved into an Under the Red Hood. So Batman should never kill, but other people could. And that story with Jim Gordon.
and something, a perspective to think is sometimes we think that people are inherently good. The truth be told is man is inherently
you just made
evil.
me think of something. You just made me think of something.
Man is inherently evil, right? You don't have to teach a 3-year-old to bite, right? You don't have to teach a baby to steal from someone else, right? These are things that as people we don't have to think about. And when we think about these traumatic events, it's easy to say that, well, it was that moment that made them turn bad. But what we don't realize, we're already evil as people, right? And the battle is the internal battle to become good, to rise above where we're at. And depending on, your worldview depends on how you view that. Like a Judeo-Christian worldview would say that internal self, our natural self, needs to be transformed. There needs to be salvation, right? And then we look at these moments for the superheroes. What is their salvation moment? What is the thing that takes them from being like everyone else to being something different, being something more, rising to this level that is uncommon from everyone else? And I think, that's why I think that ambiguity that we see of this internal battle of, do you do the right thing or do the wrong thing? It's like, the natural man is going to be inclined towards evil. And that's why Batman is such an icon, because he is rising above what he naturally wants to do. He naturally wants to end that, right? And so for him to continue to be the light, he has to continue to rise above what's common, right? The common person, just kill him, right? Kill him, it's over with, right? But he has to be more than that. He has to rise above what's common for people, and that's what makes him super. That's what makes him a superhero, Bryan.
That's right. Because in all the bad that is in Bruce Wayne, him beating the crap out of criminals, his trauma, as someone that has dealt with childhood trauma, there, Joker has said that all it takes is one bad day for someone to become like me. And he says that in The Killing Joke. And if Bruce, like, the one thing holding Bruce together is that he doesn't kill, is that he's not killing. And if Bruce gets rid of that good inside him, the what he has left, yeah, there's, like Jim said to him in the alley, there's no turning back. Like whatever in the Batman persona that is Bruce, that is that 12-year-old boy, that he never changed. He's always been that 12-year-old boy. It's gone forever. And yeah, and to hold on to whatever hope you have to get better and to be better and to do better, you have to hold on to. You have to hold on to that hope. Otherwise, life ain't worth living, man. So hold on to hope. And that is our Batman podcast. I felt
I'll tell you, you definitely won me over that Batman needed to be on Gravely Amusing.
I appreciate it.
The battle of good versus evil.
And that's the heart of what I'm talking about. Talk about evil, talk about good.
Word up.
So so that's the Batman episode. I thought this was a pretty darn good one. So if you listeners have liked this podcast, be sure to leave us a review and follow and subscribe on the podcast player of your choice. We're on Apple iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on them all. And of course, we have our YouTube channel. And tell your friends about me. Who are you? Well, I'm Bryan Peters. I hope this podcast thrilled you. I hope it shocked you. And if nothing else, I hope it left you gravely amused. Have a good day, guys.